FM.
Hello and welcome to the award-winning The Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to all listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, why are the road deaths climbing? And in second watch, fake bomb threats, kidnappings, and other chargeable public mischief offenses. For our social media question, we ask, have you ever made a fake call to an emergency number like 119 or 110? When and why? Share your responses on our Love 100 Facebook page and YouTube channel, also on WhatsApp 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on the program, but first, as I quote, Jacob.
All right, good morning, good morning. Today's I quote says, "The past is a dangerous place to revisit." Of course, it's an unknown I quote, but a very true one. The past is a dangerous place to revisit.
And sometimes these very consequential I quotes are by an unknown source. Good morning, Jacob.
That's right, good morning.
The first watch, we'll be back after this break.
Are you ready to step into increase? Join us for the 4th annual Accelerate Pastors and Leaders Conference hosted by Transformed Life Church, a power-packed 3-day conference designed to inspire, equip, and empower you as pastors and church leaders. Thursday, October 9, 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Friday, October 10, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And Saturday, October 11, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Plus, we have a bonus event Friday at 6:30 p.m. for you and all your leaders. Come and connect with visionary speakers and engage in dynamic sessions to help increase your input in your church communities like never before. For more information and to register, visit the website at accelerate.leader.net or call 876-371-0983. See you there.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
I am a man, yes. Strong man.
On the next episode of the Mailbox, we will focus on suicide prevention. It is said that most suicidal individuals give warning signs or signals of their intentions. Suicide prevention starts with recognizing the warning signs and taking them seriously. Learn what can be done if you think a friend or family member is suicidal and the tools that you can use to help save the life of someone who is thinking of harming themselves. You are invited to join the conversation with our special guest, Dr. Donovan Thomas, founder of Choose Life International, celebrating 17 years on Wednesday, October 1, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. on the family station, Love 101, The Mailbox, Monday.
Strong man, integrity man, I am a man. Hey man.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We get right into the first watch. And as the crime numbers, well, in terms of murder rates, as the crime numbers in terms of murders go down, and there are other statistics moving in the right direction as well, the deaths on our roads go up. 17 more individuals were killed on our roads as at Friday, September the 26th, compared to the same time in 2024. Interestingly, deaths via motorbike accidents haven't added to that statistic. What has changed or is responsible for these numbers? Well, our guests are Dr. Lucian Jones, Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council. And we also have Bishop Hero Steve Blair. He is the host of The Rock on Love 1 FM and is Bishop Gateway Deliverance Center. Bishop Blair, Dr. Jones, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Bishop.
Morning. Good morning, Dr. Jones.
Wonderful to have a bishop. I don't think we have had a member of the official church discussing road safety for a long time.
Well, Dr. Jones, you seem to forget that when I was on Love TV, we carried on the road accidents every day, and I do the same when I'm on Love Radio on Tuesdays. So
okay.
It's something that I've been really pushing.
My ignorance, Bishop. My apologies.
That's fine, man. This is very important to me and to Jamaica.
Great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Getting right into it, gentlemen. Thank you, Bishop Blair. Starting with you, Dr. Jones. Enforcement of traffic laws has always been a challenge. Has there been any change in monitoring? We know that there's been a change in the penalties because there is still a relatively new bit of legislation, but what about the monitoring?
All right, so the current figure as of this morning is that 280 people have died on the nation's road. Sorry, 296.
Yes. Okay.
296 compared to 280 last year. So we have an increase of 16, and the percentage as of this morning is 6% increase.
But I see the police officers out there, Dr. Jones, monitoring the traffic and,
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what's happening now. So
what's happening?
You're right on target. So the other bit of information I want to share with you. The police have identified the leading cause of traffic crashes over the years. And for this year, proceeding at excessive speed with no regard to condition has accounted for the death of 88 persons. Last year it was 71. Failing to keep to the near side of the proper traffic lane. This year accounted for the death of 54 persons. Last year it was 47. So you're right on the money. The problem is enforcement through sanction. So most of the people who have died this year, most of the increase is accounted for by more people speeding and driving carelessly and failing to keep in their lane. And the only way you can stop that kind of behavior is by sanction. The police have the tools to enforce, and they are enforcing the sanction. But sanction is a multi-layered instrument. And one of the layers of sanction, which is not working, is the demerit point system. That's a system whereby if you break the law and there are designated actions therewith, If you break those laws, then you get points attached to your license. And if you accumulate in excess of a certain number, your license can be suspended or even revoked. That system currently, they are accumulating points, but no action is being taken, which is madness.
So, Dr. Jones, hold that thought for a second. I want to bring in Bishop Blair, because Bishop Blair, Dr. Jones is in essence saying, in response to the question, that the real consequence that I think he's essentially saying, the real consequence that would stem breaches of the Traffic Act is fixing the demerit points system. If that is fixed, persons would be less inclined to breach, because they would know that they could, for instance, lose their license. Bishop Blair?
Well, that is very true, and that is something we definitely have to look at and forward with, because it is the same thing that we've seen over the years, even with the fact that we've seen buses and taxis with a long list of tickets, and those things need to be identified. People need to be, I don't want to say rewarded for their bad driving, and the reward is the taking away of their license. Somehow, I would love to really almost ask the doc, but ask the country. We see the bad driving on the road, even with our public passenger vehicles, and the statistics don't point to them having too many road deaths. But at the end of the day, the attitude, just like how I speak about the driving, I speak about the environment, the attitude of Jamaicans have to change when it comes to the rules that make our country better. And I constantly fight for this whole issue of driving on the road, because you never know when it will be our life. You never know when someone is going to do something stupid. I'm driving on the road and I'm seeing taxis, trucks yesterday driving on the left, passing me on the left-hand side, trying to get somewhere. No one wants to think about leaving out earlier or driving better or being safe, and it just doesn't seem to them as if it's dangerous. But I've seen people doing overtaking 5-6 cars and somebody else pulling out. I'm seeing taxis overtake on the left-hand side. All of these things continue to happen. But as you also look at the statistics, and I'm very thankful to Marion and the group.
Bishop Blair, before you go there, I see where we are already upon a break, so hold that thought. Don't lose your train of thought, sir. And listeners, please stay with us. Very important discussion on road safety. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
New semester, your time to win. Pick up True products and you're in. True Ship, True Milk, and True Jokes, True Almond, and True Moto. Refresh your semester in True Style.
Purchase any 6 True products between August 28 and October 13 for a chance to be one of 3 grand prize winners of $200,000 or 7 weekly winners of $15,000 in supermarket or book vouchers. Visit Tradewin Citrus on IG for details.
New semester, your time to win. Refresh your semester in True Style.
Conditions apply.
Authorized by the Betting Gaming and Lotteries Commission.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Save so you can make the park, travel far, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the first watch having a very important discussion on road safety. The topic is, why are the road deaths climbing. Our guests are Dr. Lucian Jones, Vice Chairman, National Road Safety Council, and Hero Steve Blair, Bishop Blair, host of The Rock on Love 101 FM and Bishop Gateway Deliverance Center. Bishop Blair, just before the break, sir, you were making a number of critical points, and you spoke about persons needing to just wake up earlier, etc., etc., etc. Continue, Bishop Blair.
There are several things that we truly need to look at. And one is the fact that men account for a large number of our accidents. And that is a very serious situation. We continue to look at the fact that women are only about, let me see, it disappeared from me here, but males account for 84% of the accidents, and that is something that we need to look at. Females only account for 16% of the fatalities. Sorry. So what is it about men? Dr. Jones will tell you that we do more speeding, that we're more careless, and that's very sad. And the second thing I'd like to talk about.
Men tend to be a little bit more, take more risks. Part of the culture, the growing up.
We do. Yeah. But the other thing I'd like to look at before Dr. Jones comes back in, because he's the real expert. I'm just a guy that gets. I call the office every week demanding the statistics before I come on. Unfortunately, I was on yesterday, and I was speaking about the deaths increasing by 5-6%, whereas it was going down earlier in the year, and during the summer it just went back up. But here's something else that really stands out for me. Area 1, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, the roads that we drive a lot when we're going to the country in these areas. This is the area that accounts for 29% of the fatalities on our roads. It therefore says that though we're seeing more police in troubled areas, crime areas, we do need to see more police in the areas where we're driving in the country. We do need to see more of these things where people, because when we see police, we're going to slow down. But at the end of the day, once our Jamaican people get on these country roads, get in these areas, we're driving like crazy fools. Because Area 2, Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, which is also what we call our country areas, accounts for 19%. So between both areas, a huge portion of our people are dying in road accidents. We need to slow down. We need to consider the other drivers. And sadly, almost every day of my life, I live in Helshaw, so I'm driving on Helshaw Road, I'm driving on what we call 95, and I'm driving on Mandela. And people are doing some of the craziest things on the road. And we just don't care. I've been run off the road at least once a week. People are overtaking and not considering truly if they can make it. And twice this week, today's Wednesday? Twice this week I've had to stop to make room for somebody who is overtaking, because if I continued driving, they would have hit me.
Dr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any information or anything to indicate when might the demerit point system be fixed? Because I think you're in essence saying that should hopefully nip this issue of the road deaths in the bud. Because if persons know that they are likely to maybe be suspended from driving or lose their license or whatever the serious sanction is, it might make them think twice.
Well, in that respect, as you know, the Prime Minister is the chairman of the National Road Safety Council.
Yes.
He has been occupied with other things of late, so we understand that. So for the elections, I wrote to him through his personal assistant requesting a meeting, and I sent the data in respect of the merit point system. So we are waiting because that's a policy decision which is above my pay grade. That's a decision which has to be taken at the highest level. And then once that decision is made, then other things will follow. I just want to say a couple of other things. Bishop is right on the money about culture of carelessness we have on our roads. And one of the things that many people remark is that these same Jamaican drivers, and not just drivers, people in general, when they go to a country where the laws apply, for example, in the United States, they behave themselves because they know if they don't behave themselves, action will be taken against them. Certainty of action, swift action. So we need to have developed in this country the same response to careless behavior. That if you behave like this, an action is going to be taken against you. So there are two aspects to this. One is that we had a discussion recently at a National Safety Council meeting, a different level on the meeting at PM. And the head of peace said from that there are two things, and I think we all agree with them, that are happening. One is that many of our people cannot drive. They don't have the skill to negotiate the challenges on our road.
So in other words, they have a driver's license, but they cannot drive. That's what you're saying, Doctor?
Well, that's another story by itself.
I was hoping you would develop it. I was hoping that you'd go on.
We all know that there are many people who have driver's license who did not get a license legally. That's a reality in the country. And that's one issue, which is a police issue, a law enforcement issue. And the other issue is the training, the level of training that people are getting before they get their license. And of course, the issue we're talking about here is the matter of carelessness. So everything has to come together. But the number one problem right now is that people are being very careless on our road. We were told by the police that on Hope Road, in peak hour, when people are proceeding north to on Hope Road, going up to Ligani and Papi, the taximen just switch over to the other lane, the southbound lane, so they drive up against the traffic. So that kind of behavior is just grievously bad. I mean, how can you even think about it? It's not like in a movie. And people are chasing you, they decide to go on the wrong way. So this kind of behavior is just plain out of order. And we need to put a stop to it very quickly. And one of the ways is to make sure your sanctions regime works efficiently. And the other thing, of course, is that you can't have a policeman in every corner. So we need the right points. We need to have cameras strategically located, and there are technologies available now through the cameras. You can use drones. The drones are being used in Florida right now. So we don't really want to get into the high tech thing, although it's useful. Just fix the right point system, and we'll be happy for the time being.
Jones.
You know, I'm. You know, I am not necessarily one who is, quick to say you should employ certain draconian measures, but I don't think the average Jamaican person realizes, Dr. Jones, that if the current situation continues, it will, give any government the encouragement to say, listen, we need to do more heightened surveillance in terms of monitoring driving, including the use of the technology such as all the cameras and even drones. Can you imagine a drone following you overhead? I mean, that's a scary thought, but I think Jamaican drivers need to take heed, because you just never know if a government will decide to impose these very draconian measures to get you to conform. I don't know if you...
Add to that.
Bishop Blair, go
I
ahead.
would love to add to that because he does mention what I've always said. When I'm in Cayman, the people, every Jamaican obeys the laws there, and there are places where we only drive 25 miles an hour. In Jamaica, there are places I go where people don't stop at stop signs, and it continues every single day. The fact is, we do need to take stringent measures, and the whole issue of the point system is one thing. Nothing works without the enforcement. So the cameras, I would almost want to suggest that when I worked in the prison at one point in time, we did not have enough prison officers, so we hired some junior wardens. So they were not prison officers. I'm thinking at times, do we need traffic wardens? Because we're still seeing taxis drive down the middle of the road with passengers in a public passenger vehicle, and even though we've only had 5 or 6 deaths in public passenger vehicles of passengers, it still is important because I've been fighting along with Dr. Jones and others to see the numbers come down from the high 300s to less than that, and it does not have to be so high. If people make proper decisions, and their decisions are always going to be on the fact of, am I going to be caught? So the cameras are important, and people start needing to get those tickets for breaking stop signs, stop lights. Dr. Jones, we've not even mentioned the fact that we have buses and taxis stopping at stoplights, and the issues are not just the road deaths, gentlemen. It's the fact that the whole issue of discipline, order, is totally broken down across Jamaica. And if we start working on our people and the way we think and live, then the road accidents may be one of the benefits that we get in terms of it coming down by the decisions we're making.
Well, I agree with you more, Bishop.
And it appears as if when we live in other countries where Jamaicans know that the legal system there is pretty serious, we conform, but yet when we are here, we don't conform as much, or we don't conform at all.
We don't see them breaking the lights in Cayman like that and driving like that.
Yes.
Not
So,
at all.
I mean, and those countries don't have drones tracking you down everywhere, etc. I mean, they probably use them.
Have drones in Florida now. Tracking.
Drones in Florida now.
Yeah, in Miami. Yeah, it's happening right now.
That's one state, but
monitoring traffic.
I don't know. Somehow when Jamaicans go and live in other countries, they conform, but when they're here, they don't conform. Why is that so, Dr. Jones, as we wrap? What's going on here?
That's a big sociological problem. Because more time we have here to examine. That's a huge problem. And that's a big part of why we're having so many crashes on our road. And
Dr. Jones and Bishop Blair, I'm sure we'll hear more from the both of you, especially you, Dr. Jones, because hopefully you'll get audience with the chairman of the National Road Safety Council shortly, that being the most honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Holness, sir. You can update us when we'll happily interview you after that meeting.
I certainly will.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time, Dr. Jones and Bishop Blair, and thank you, viewers and listeners, for being with us. We'll be right back on the morning.
I'm so much, Bishop. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back on the morning watch.
Start your journey with a JN Small Business Loan with small business loans as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million. The time by JN Small Business Loan is
7:31 a.m.
Here's why you can't afford to miss the Morning Watch.
I love listening to the Morning Watch because topics are discussed and issues are highlighted that are of major importance, which in turn edify me.
The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
I like listening to the Morning Watch. I find it very informative. I find it very interesting. The topics that are covered are very, very wide.
The Morning Watch, thought-provoking, insightful, current. Listen for the probing questions with attorney at law Stokeley Marshall and the in-depth discussion with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint.
Every Tuesday, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Bashco. Bashco, the store that gives you more.
is spreading the word. Catch it early.
Catch it early.
Catch it early. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Early detection can save your life. Don't drop the ball. Get screened for breast cancer today. Do your self-examinations regularly and schedule your mammogram. Make sure you're prepared. Get Sagicor Life Critical Illness Insurance. Access up to 25% of your sum insured on early diagnosis of breast cancer. Conditions apply. Catch it early.
Just spread the word, let it be known. HPV for the MVP, we're not alone. Together we'll fight, keep cancer away. Get vaccinated and keep it that way. HPV vaccine are what we need. Oh yes, Mr. That me a breathe. You have to prevent yourself, cause this is what we need. HPV for the MVP. Vaccine is cancer prevention. A simple shot worth the attention. Stay protected, don't hesitate. Get vaccinated right away. HPV vaccine is cancer prevention. A simple shot worth the attention. Stay protected, don't hesitate. Get vaccinated, no, it's never too late.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Run, triple grease cleaning power. Each foam lasts longer. Run, triple grease cleaning power. You scrub less often. Run, triple grease cleaning power.
Find it at a great price in your favorite store or supermarket. Formula with 3 grease cleaning agents versus another dishwashing soap of similar price.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here, firstly, in the Gleaner. Well, let's start with the Observer. No place for absenteeism. Lateness. No place for absenteeism. Lateness. Paulwell, Morgan send firm message to parliamentarians. That story by Jerome Williams. We have also in the Observer, appeals pending. French, which is, you could call it a pet name, nickname, as the case may be. French co-convicted Hope, two different individuals, plan next steps in sports fraud case. There was a guilty verdict in relation to 3 accused persons. That story by Rashid Parchment. We now turn to the Gleaner. A bit of sad news here. Parish Court Judge Ruth Lawrence has died. Parish Court Judge Ruth Lawrence has died. She was presiding out in Trelawney. Also in the Gleaner, new visa fee kicks in. U.S. surcharge for travel document applicable as of today, but no clarity on refunds. This story by Lester Hines. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Of course, coming up next, we'll read for you some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, have you ever made a fake call to an emergency number like 119 or 110? When and why? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses on our Facebook or YouTube. Love 100 from Jamaica Live. And also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
We know you're making every dollar work harder, choosing carefully, buying what you need, and making it stretch as far as you can. That's why Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets. It's our way of helping you sweeten moments together, share more meals, and take care of the people you love. Make a good move with whole heap of savings from Grace.
As a contractor, I never work without a plan.
As an electrician, protection is always a priority.
If you're a small business owner or an independent contractor, there's a plan that gives you protection and coverage. Sagicor Pro Shield. Get up to $1 million critical illness coverage and cover up to 80% of your medical costs for as little as $15,510 every 3 months. Get the protection you need with Sagicor Pro Shield. Call 876-936-7784. Conditions apply.
Sun Triple Breeze Cleaning Power. Each foam lasts longer. Sun Triple Breeze Cleaning Power. You scrub less often. Sun Triple Breeze Cleaning Power.
Find it at a great price in your favorite store or supermarket. Formula with 3 grease cleaning agents versus another dishwashing soap of similar price.
Levis Heritage presents Champion Festival and Anniversary Celebration on Saturday, November 1st, 2025 at the Hart College of Construction Services Auditorium in Portmore starting 7 p.m. sharp, featuring Kevin Downswell, Sister Park, Lubert Levy, Orville Sutherland, and other ministers. Get your ticket now online at spuropen.com/Levis Heritage. Sponsored by Love 101, Spur Open, Print Big, Crystal Clear Productions, Caribbean Gospel TV, and others. Ticket deals in September 30. Get your tickets online now.
Join us for the 4th annual Accelerate Pastors and Leaders Conference hosted by Transformed Life Church, a power-packed 3-day conference designed to inspire, equip, and empower you as pastors and church leaders. Thursday, October 9, 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Friday, October 10, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, October 11, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Plus, we have a bonus event Friday at 6:30 p.m. for you and all your leaders. That's the Accelerate Pastors and Leaders Conference, October 9 to 11. Then join us on Thursday, October 9 at 8 a.m. for a live link right here on Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We get right into the second watch. Now, there have been fake bomb threats, hoax, kidnappings, and bogus emergency calls that may seem like pranks to some persons or jokes to some. But under Jamaican law, they are serious crimes. These acts tie up critical police resources, cause widespread panic, and can carry heavy fines or even prison time. Today, we look at the penalties for making false reports and why the authorities are warning that public mischief in this form or any form will not be taken lightly. We have as our guest to understand what on earth is happening here, SSP Senior Superintendent Delia Garrick. She's the head of the Constabulary Communications Network of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces, CCN. SSP Delia Garrick, no stranger to the Morning Watch. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. I am blessed. And you?
I am well. And now we want to get your professional, your learned, your studied understanding of what on earth is happening here. Because what exactly does Jamaican law say about public mischief and public mischief in the form of making these false reports?
All right. So public mischief is a breach of the Towns and Community Act. And when you use a digital platform, then you will find it anchoring as a breach of the Cybercrimes Act. What you find is that we have the prank, which is more related to the calls that goes into the police emergency service, and that is we process around 5,000 calls daily through our police emergency communication center, and around 60% or say at least 3,000 of those calls are prank calls. That's the magnitude.
Can you slow down a little bit? Is there about 5,000?
Yes, 5,000 calls.
Which about over
on a daily basis
3,000? Over 3,000 are prank calls?
are prank calls.
That's what, more than 2/3?
Yeah, around 60% of the calls are prank or non-emergency. And in other jurisdictions, you will have legislative support in terms of you can legally block these numbers that consistently make prank calls. However, in Jamaica, where the 119 is your national emergency number, whether it's a health crisis, whether it's a environmental crisis, flooding, whether it's a security crisis, which it is initially designed for, then that is your emergency. So even there cannot at this time be a contemplation to block numbers, because the person who today may make a prank call may tomorrow have a genuine crisis or emergency that require them to make contact. So that is part of the nuance that we have to deal with. Sometimes the calls are not necessarily prank, but non-emergency. Somebody wants a number for somewhere, they would call. And then we remember now, to make a 119 call, you don't even need a chip in a phone. The phone is programmed to allow you to make those SOS calls. So it sometimes starts there. And then you see it escalating, where you're getting bomb threats. You're getting bomb threats in sensitive areas that are very disruptive to life. Schools, courts, heavily trafficked business offices, that you must respond. Once it's a certain type of call, for example, a bomb threat, you must respond. It doesn't matter the frequency of it, and it takes specialists to respond to this. It takes a lot of resources, because sometimes you have to establish inner and outer cordons along with your search team to process these buildings. So it's a resource-intense type operation, and it creates public panic, because when you have a prank call in a building that is heavily used or heavily trafficked, and then you have the copycats where other prank calls are now being made. And
you mean the bomb threat type of prank call?
The bomb threats. So, for example, there was a time when
building and you see the staff standing outside doing absolutely nothing except looking anxious.
Exactly, but the fear that they actually go through, that anxiety, the disruption, for them to be settled again,
and
for
you lose all that time for productive work.
Exactly, hours of productive work.
SSB Garrick, hold that thought for a second, because I see we're now upon a break already. Never enough time on the Morning Watch. Listeners, viewers, we'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets. The time that Grace could move is
7:45 a.m.
Good Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We're having a very important conversation with SSP Dahlia Garrick. She is the head of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Constabulary Communications Network, CCN. The topic is fake bomb threats, kidnappings, and other chargeable public mischief offenses. And SSP Garrick, you are in essence telling us that these fake bomb threats, prank calls, etc., cause a lot of disruption. SSP Garrick, please continue.
Yeah. It certainly does, and the public panic, because if you remember a few years ago, in 2023, when we had the bomb threat at a petrol station in Otarayas, the amount of resource it took, we had to basically shut down the town center to ensure that we carry out all the search protocols and to declare that space safe. And this was a hoax. Fortunately, an arrest was made in that matter, but it just shows you how disruptive and the type of public panic and public fear that can emanate from such calls.
SSB Garrick, when these prank calls are made, is there a way to track and trace to find out the source of these calls?
I'm sure with technology we could, but just as I go back to saying that some of the time, for if you're using 119, you don't even need a chip in your phone. You can go ahead and dial 119, and sometimes the calls may come into 119. Sometimes the calls may go into the direct office. And yes, when it is made from a number, we do have the legal framework that allows us through service providers to get those, because that forms a part of the investigation. And we have been arresting people for various types of prank and public mischief type. We have arrested persons for a series of calls that were made a few years ago at courthouses, disrupting the criminal justice system for many days. So we have had some level of success, but not as much as you would want to in these cases. But in the broader sense of public mischief, it goes beyond just prank calls. You have persons who make false reports, reports of crime that did not commit, and that too takes a lot of resources to investigate, to unearth whether or not this is actually a factual incident or fictitious before you can even proffer those charges. It would be, a full-scale investigation. And the categories are so wide that it sometimes, again, takes up the time of experts who are normally used to probe specialized type crimes. So it's really disruptive. It causes disruption and embarrassment oftentimes to people who are accused, and even when the arrest is made, the trauma, the injury, the damage, the emotional injury, damage to reputation that is done is sometimes very hard to recover from. So there are so many aspects that these actions causes.
What about fake kidnappings? I don't know how widespread it is, but it is indicated that there is such a thing. Any thoughts on that?
It is. You will find that happens sometimes for persons who intend to make financial gains from it, and sometimes it is done for to pressure family members in paying over money. Sometimes you find that it is done for people who may be thinking of a way to get out of situations that their reputation is already compromised. You also find that it's not only kidnapping. You have false claims around robberies, arson, assault, even missing person. Something, where people would not be missing, but have someone collude or intentionally file a missing person report for someone who is genuinely not missing in order to discover where those persons are. You have false claim of sexual offenses, robberies. So almost there are several ways in which people create public mischief by reporting false crime or crimes that happen, but they know that the way it was reported, it's not factual.
We had a discussion in the first watch about road safety and the amount of road deaths, and it was indicated that, because there are challenges with the demerit point system, persons are not feeling the full weight of the consequences of misusing the road. And as such, they might accumulate tickets but their licenses aren't suspended, etc. And so things continue. Now, with the prank calls, maybe the reason why they continue, I'm just trying to make sense of all that you have shared with us, is because there isn't enough of a serious consequence for these calls.
I agree with you, and this is something that from a
Where do we go
JCS,
from here?
right? We have because even with the updates that were done to the Cybercrime Act and the Town and Community, it's still the you need to have penalties that will, align with the seriousness of these. While these are misdemeanor, the type of disruption, the type of frequency that you see happening, and in this digital age, one can only assume that you can expect an increase in this because people find that it sometimes creates scenarios that works in their behalf. That disruption suits someone's agenda. So definitely the penalty. I know that like the Cybercrime Act, it's something that is reviewed periodically, and I know that the police do get an opportunity through the Ministry of National Security to give some feedback, and I know that this is an area that we have openly discussed, and therefore we would imagine that this will be something as a priority for the next time. Such
I indicated something in the first watch, and I'll mention it here as well in the second watch, although in a somewhat varied way or in a different way. You see, if there is mass surveillance, it will, in my view, be curtailed. But do we want to go there? Because mass surveillance is not nice. I don't think Jamaicans realize that if you continue to make these nonsensical calls and waste the resources of the police, a minister of national security could say we need to do something drastic. Would mean surveilling the calls in such a way that even before you finish making that nonsense call, they know who you are.
But the good thing is that there is already precedent. Countries such like Australia, New Zealand have systems. And as I said, in our jurisdiction, because 119 is used for several layers of emergency, we don't block. But there are other jurisdictions where they have programs that are designed to identify and interrupt. So, it can be treated with in some level without abridging the rights of every Jamaican, but more specific to the nature of, for example, the 119. But that now would present another challenge in terms of when these people have a genuine emergency, how are they managed? So it has to be in that broader context.
I don't think people realize what they're doing. They're setting the stage unwittingly, perhaps, for more severe restrictions. I think people need to take heed before you go there, because that's certainly something I'm hoping.
Definitely.
I hope you don't go on that road. That is not. It feels very Orwellian to me. Fake bomb threats just before the elections. I'm getting. I'm being reminded that just before the elections, it is indicated that there were fake bomb threats. What, if anything, came to your attention in that regard, SSP Garrick? Or
all these matters would be investigated. The first response is that wherever you get a bomb threat, you have to do your search, your thorough search, to ensure that to determine whether or not this is a hoax or if this is real. Once any evidence is found there to say that this has any signs that it was something that was being considered or anything that was outside of a hoax, that would take on a full-scale investigation. So once anything is found to support that it was anything other than a hoax, that would take on a full investigation, and that would be led by our experts. If it is found out to be a hoax, then of course we would engage our public, just reminding them of the seriousness, and two, start investigation, because sometimes, as I said, it depends on how that contact was made. It may give you the ability to start an investigation, and we have done that in the past and even had persons arrested. So we follow all the leads that are available to make a determination on the next step.
Well, I have noticed how you have responded, and I think you might be responding that way because you have to be careful in terms of what you relate to the public, since there might in fact be an active investigation taking place. But,
right. Any matter that, because as we said, we know the seriousness, and we don't want to overlook anything that might be detrimental and that might compromise the safety of any Jamaican or anyone visiting. So it's our responsibility that wherever investigative leads are identified, to progress them to their fullest.
yes. In fact, I'm seeing reference to ongoing probes into bomb threats, etc., here in one of our daily newspapers. SSP Garrick, I think we're just about out of time, but in a few seconds, if you could give a final word.
I just want to use this opportunity to also appeal to persons who use digital platforms for cyberbullying. It is also disruptive, harmful. It causes emotional stress, and it is one of the other crippling side of the disadvantages of living in a digital world. We just want persons to just realize that their action can impact them personally, in that the hoax they do today, tomorrow they may be in a legitimate emergency situation, and their response is delayed because someone else is playing the same trick and using up resources that should be directed to treat with real cases. So be mindful that the disruption you are creating may be hampering your loved one or a friend from being responded to in the fastest time due to the lack of resources or having to divert resources to hope.
The SSP Garrick, and of course, Jamaicans need to be mindful that if we don't take heed now, we don't know if a future government or any government may want to do something involving more surveillance to get us to conform. We need to be very careful. Thank you, SSP Dela Garrick. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very grateful to you. And thank you, viewers and listeners. Join us again tomorrow as we look at other issues of the day. Visit our YouTube channel and Facebook page, and now TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica for this and all other Love 101 programs. And download our Love 101 app to stay connected to us, the family station. Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. Join me again tomorrow as I look at other issues of the day. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing it back over the morning with Chuka.
The Morning Watch was brought to you by Accelerate Pastors and Leaders Conference, Thursday, October 9 to Saturday, October 11 at The Ambassadors, 63 Hadley Park Road, Kingston.